Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to cut through all the noise around cholesterol. We're going to build a super practical guide for managing it with the food you eat. And trust me, it's probably a lot simpler than you think.
Okay, so first things first, let's bust a huge myth right off the bat. When you hear that word, cholesterol, does your mind immediately jump to, bad guy, health villain? Well, the real story is a little more interesting than that.
It's pretty wild, but your body actually needs cholesterol. I mean, it's a core building block for every single cell you have. The problem only starts when things get out of whack, and we end up with way too much of it just floating around in our bloodstream. And this, right here, is the key to everything. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got LDL, the lousy cholesterol. It's kind of like a delivery truck that's a bit careless. It can drop off plaque that clogs up your arteries. But then you have HDL, the helpful cholesterol. This is your cleanup crew. It goes around, picks up that excess cholesterol, and hauls it away. So the goal is really simple. We want less of the lousy stuff and more of the helpful stuff. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the cholesterol conundrum. Then we'll build your cholesterol-lowering arsenal. We'll cover the foods to watch out for, look at some heart-healthy blueprints, and finally, we'll talk about results, patience, and beyond. So we've just covered the basics of that whole conundrum. Now that we have that foundation, let's get into the good stuff. Okay, enough theory. It's time to get proactive. Let's start building your cholesterol-lowering arsenal with foods that are actively going to work for you. First up on our team, soluble fiber. The way this works is actually really cool. Imagine it's like a sponge moving through your system. It literally grabs onto cholesterol particles and just carries them right out of your body. So loading up on things like oats, beans, and even apples is a fantastic first line of defense. Now, let's talk about fat. And yes, I mean the good kind. Healthy fats, like the ones you find in avocados, olive oil, walnuts, and fatty fish, are just brilliant. They pull double diddy. They actively help lower that lousy LDL, while at the same time giving your helpful HDL a boost. It's a win-win. And listen, this isn't just some friendly advice. There is some serious science here. One major study found that older adults who ate about half a cup of walnuts every day for 2 years lowered their LDL cholesterol by an average of 4.3 milligrams per deciliter. That's a pretty powerful result from such a simple daily habit. Okay, 2 more heavy hitters for your arsenal. First, plant sterols. Think of these guys as bouncers at the door of your digestive system. They physically block cholesterol from getting absorbed. You'll often find them added to foods like certain spreads and yogurts. And then you have soya, things like tofu and edamame, which is another proven tool for helping bring down that lousy LDL. Right, so we've stocked the arsenal with things to add. Now, let's build up our defense by taking a look at the foods we should probably limit. And here is the absolute crucial point. For decades, we were all obsessed with the cholesterol in our food, right? Like worrying about eggs. But the science has really shifted. We now know the real villains are saturated and trans fats. They're what signals your liver to go into overdrive and produce more of that lousy LDL cholesterol. And the best part? You can put this into action without feeling like you're missing out. It's all about making smart swaps. Instead of cooking with butter, try olive oil. Trade out fatty red meat for some lean chicken or fish. These little changes day after day can make a huge difference in cutting down those harmful fats. So we know the individual foods to add and the ones to limit. But how do you put it all together into a plan that makes sense? Well, lucky for us, experts have already created some fantastic science-backed blueprints. You've probably heard of these 2 heavyweights, the DASH diet and the Mediterranean diet. The DASH diet is a bit more structured. It has specific daily serving goals and really focuses on limiting sodium to tackle high blood pressure. The Mediterranean diet, on the other hand, is more of a flexible lifestyle, really emphasizing whole foods, fiber, and lots of healthy fats, especially from olive oil. And then there's something called the portfolio diet. This one is like a super focused strike team aimed right at high cholesterol. It's built on 4 key components we've already talked about: nuts, plant sterols, soluble fiber, and soy protein. It's designed to combine the power of all 4 to get a really significant drop in LDL.
All right, this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But let's get down to it. If you actually make these changes, how long does it take to see a real difference in your numbers?
This timeline gives us a really good, realistic picture. Now, statins, those are prescription medications. They work fast. You could see changes in just 3 to 4 weeks. But with diet alone, you need a little more patience. If you're consistent, you could see a solid 10 to 15% drop in about 2 or 3 months. And don't sleep on exercise. Over the long haul, say a year or more, it can have a massive impact. And that's really the main thing to remember here. Your diet is an incredibly powerful tool, for sure, but it works best when it's part of a team. When you combine those smart food choices with regular movement, managing your weight, and not smoking, that's when you create a really powerful, holistic strategy for your heart health. So, to wrap all this up, I want to leave you with a little challenge. Just think about one small, totally doable swap you can make this week. Maybe it's just switching to olive oil for your cooking. Or maybe it's grabbing that handful of walnuts for your afternoon snack. Whatever it is, just start there. That one small step is a fantastic place to begin.